This is a typical neighborhood in Kenya. According to the United Nations Human Development Report, about 36% of people in Kenya live below the poverty line. But we also know that poverty is not only lack of income. It has to do with housing, with lack of education, with lack of health. This is a problem of multidimensional poverty. But what we also know is that the solutions to poverty are right here in front of us, and many times we don't see it. The poverty stoplight, which is a very simple application adapted to each country, we can activate the potential of every family in every country in the world. Here in Kenya, but also in Uganda, in South Africa, in Brazil, in Mexico, and even in the United States, the UK, or Europe. We can ask people to identify where they feel strong, where they are green, where they are weak, where they are yellow, or when they are suffering a lot, where they are red, and they create a dashboard where they raise their own awareness of where they are strong and where they need help. And together we create a bank of solutions to show the people how neighbors and people just like that have overcome poverty.
Poverty top right is helping us, helping our families to be able to determine the kind of goals they need to have in a year to be able to improve their living standard.
My expectation about the poverty spotlight outcomes of that, the mothers will have achieved, or the families will have achieved economic self-sufficiency. This will be done by having different sources of income and also employment. The families are very happy since the poverty spotlight platform was introduced. Since they have seen a lot of changes, they have been able to use the unutilized resources within them.
And once every family has a life map, identifying where they're strong and when they need help, and once we create an enabling environment, there's nothing to stop. We are now working with more than 360,000 families in 59 countries, each one working with their personalized, individualized family development plan. We know that once we activate the potential in each family to get ahead, there's nothing to stop them. And we're just getting started. First of all, thank you for it's a blessing for us. First of all, because I come from a small, isolated but we blessed to be a sister state. And generations of Paraguayan students have come to Kansas paying in-state tuition and returned. So that is a great contribution of the people of Kansas. So thank you very much. Also, Paraguayan scholars have come here to get to do research, and Kansans, is that how you say it? Professors, students, PhD candidates, firemen, doctors have gone to Paraguay. In fact, on the 15th of June, they will be visiting us there, and it's an amazing opportunity. So thank you, the Kansas Paraguay group, for doing this. It's just an amazing thing. Second, I met Melissa Birch almost 40 years ago when I was just back from getting married to an American. Can you imagine what happened to me? I came to study in this country and I fell in love. The last week in my undergraduate, I fell in love with an American girl. My mother said, "Do not marry an American." And I said, "Why not?" "She'll steal you from us." We've been living in Paraguay for 43 years. But I met Melissa, who is associated with all these international centers here many years ago when we were starting Paraguay's first development organization. It was banned. We were living under a military dictatorship, but it was sort of interesting because they couldn't figure out if we were communist or Nazis or what. But we started with a microfinance program. And the idea of microfinance is a revolution in that you rebaptize, and I use this word on purpose, you rebaptize a street vendor and call her a micro enterprise. And by virtue of that, a whole bunch of energy is unleashed, and she is a subject of credit. She's a subject of savings. She's a subject of insurance, a whole bunch. There have been street vendors selling oranges in the hanging gardens of Babylonia, but now only 40 or 50 years ago and now there are 250 million micro enterprises incorporated into the financial system. And the idea is that with microfinance, you increase family income, you strengthen precarious jobs, and you create new jobs. It's marvelous. Then, throughout our history, we did many innovations, and one of them was to receive from a Catholic group called the La Salle Christian Brothers a bankrupt agricultural school. And they said, we have failed at our agricultural school because we were touring the country and we saw a graduate of our school as a street vendor. And we asked him, Jose, what are you doing here? He says, well, I'm trying to make a living, but you have a high school degree in agriculture. Yeah, but what can I do with a high school degree in agriculture if I don't have credit, if I can't buy the simple irrigation equipment to start a vegetable garden? And so he says, the priest said, this is the key, Martin. The school is yours if you want it. Because you have what farmers need, credit and financial literacy. Because the key is not to know how to grow tomatoes, but how to make money with tomatoes. So we took over the agricultural high school and we applied what we had learned in our microfinance program, that it is not feasible to support 10 street vendors or 100 or 1,000, but 10,000 storekeepers and seamstresses, and yes, 50,000, you have enough economies of scale. So we applied the same thing to our agricultural school, and we went from a demonstration vegetable garden with 4 vegetable beds to a commercial vegetable garden with 6 acres of vegetables. And we adapted the learning by doing, and we added selling and making money. And in the selling and making money is where the learning is. When a 16-year-old farm girl figures out how she can generate $800 a month by combining poultry and livestock and vegetable garden and to be free, independent from her boyfriend, her brother, and her father and the men, and she can generate her own money, she's gone. So we started seeing all these young men and women, teenagers, levitate out of poverty because they figured it out. That's how you make money. In my country, sexual education and financial literacy are taboo in the schools. It's not taught. And I can understand because it's a traditional Catholic country. You know, the Catholic Church has a lot of influence in the Ministry of Education, but financial literacy, it vulgarizes education. We need to teach them history and geometry. But we started seeing young men and women levitate out of poverty without money. It was their, and their parents may have a Toyota Hilux truck and they're still poor. So what is poverty? The World Bank says it's $5 per person per day in the house, monetary poverty. The United Nations came up with the Sustainable Development Goals. The University of Oxford has come up with a multidimensional poverty index, but it's all done in the desk. And so we started asking the people with whom we were working, what does it mean for you to be not poor? Oh, you have to have money. What else? You have to have a house. What else? There has to be transportation in your village. What else? There has to be a health post. What else? You have to have self-esteem. Excuse me? Oh, yeah. If you don't have self-esteem, you have to have motivation. What else? You have to control your emotions. Excuse me? You have to control your emotion. Of course, my brother-in-law, that's his problem. Well, he can't get a job. He gets a job, but then he fights with his co-workers and he gets fired. And no, not only that, but there's a woman there in the village. That's why she doesn't have any running water. The whole village has running water, but because she doesn't control her emotions, she can't get along well with anybody and nobody wants to help her. What else? You have to think of others when you make decisions. You have to have a life map. We made a list of the 50 indicators. Half of them objective and half of them subjective. And what do you do with subjective indicators? So we opted for a self-assessment, which you saw in the using technology, because these people are mostly functional illiterates, but using colors and images that are adapted to every country, because, for example, in the United States, they don't like cartoons. They like photos. And in the UK, they like it, but in black and white. Every country. So what, we have family savings. How long do you think it takes a family in South Africa to answer this? Half a second? We have access to running water. So in 20 minutes, any family in any country in the world can self-assess their level of poverty across a whole bunch of things. Wow. And if there's no internet in the village, it can sync later on. And what's new, instead of aggregating, so we didn't know this, of the poverty indexes, right? But then we started being confronted by reality. Health, education, life expectancy divided by 3. Indexes, aggregating data. This is why, but it doesn't relate to reality. Why would you want to aggregate data? And of course, it's for decision makers at the top, but at the household level, you don't need. So, okay, so what is a house? Oh, a house, first thing is you have to have safe roof, windows, and doors. What else? There has to be separate bedrooms for adults and children. What else? You need to have an elevated stove and ventilated kitchen. What else? You need to have a refrigerator. What else? You need to have a bathroom. What else? You have to have furniture. What else? You have to have utensils. What else? That's it. Excuse me? That's it. That's it. In Paraguay, you have those 7 things and you are non-poor in housing. What about the floor? It doesn't matter. The paint? It doesn't matter. That's it? Yeah, that's it. Everybody? Everybody. Can you be poor in bedroom and not poor in refrigerator? Yes. So, and I was in Switzerland one day, and typical Swiss, brilliant guys say, oh, just like the Russian novel Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. And I said, whoa. No, I did not read Anna Karenina in high school. It was too thick. No, Anna Karenina. Why? Well, all happy families are alike, and each unhappy family is unhappy in their own way. That's the first line. Yes. Brilliant. 150 years ago, Leo Tolstoy figured it out. So what you have here is a dashboard created by the family. It's worth gold. It's worth gold. Just for her to say, okay, am I red or yellow in this one? Which is the awareness, right? And the aspiration also. And then the family creates their own individualized family plan to overcome poverty. Remember the national development plans or the municipal development plans, family development plans. Unheard of, only because there is technology. And what does it mean, zero poverty? Now we have the chance to eliminate poverty in the world, not reduce or alleviate. You know how? Just to be green in everything. And by definition, all the indicators are achievable and actionable in every community. In my country, to have one faucet of water in the house is to be green in water. No. She's poor. No. I know that she has one faucet there in her yard of treated water. Check. In this country, you have to have hot water in the bathroom. But water is the same indicator. In my country, to have a well is to be yellow in water. But I know some parts of northeastern Nigeria where if you have a well 1,000 meters from your house, you're doing well. Every country knows what it means to be not poor. So the reason I'm very interested in this gathering is because and as I mentioned, we now have 363,000 families in 800 partner organizations in 59 countries. And we were talking about AI for us. But can you imagine AI for the mother of the house? That's where we need help. Because what is the path out of poverty? Does she have to fix her teeth first in order to find a job? Or does she try to generate more income first and then fix her teeth? What is the path of least resistance? What have other positive deviants or successful families done in her neighborhood? We have a solutions bank in every country we know that there is a way for the poor to get wheelchairs in Abuja, because we know a lot of poor people in Abuja who have wheelchairs. Not all the poor who need wheelchairs, but it is feasible, right? So how can we access the solutions, the strategies, the motivations, and how can we have AI make us a little bit more humble that we don't know? And as I was mentioning today, we are not the last Coca-Cola in the desert. We're learning. And I laugh because 15 years ago when we developed this, we were so cool because we were using technology. But that was third industrial revolution. And now with the fourth industrial revolution, we're completely, right? But so I want to thank Unbound. Thank you, Ashley, you and your wonderful team for allowing us this opportunity also, and Children International also, and the university, because this is a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity, but
class.
I'm sorry?
You don't? How come?
That's artificial intelligence.
Why? Okay, no, none of that. Not okay.
Virtual presenters,
Not okay with that.
virtual presenters, please mute yourself.
So in any case, that's what I wanted to mention. I come here to learn. I come here to get to know you. For example, I'm very happy to see Brent here, because with Heifer International, we were exploring the same thing. How does Unbound, Children International, Heifer is They're so humble. They say, we're a livestock organization. Yeah, right. Okay. So they give a cow, and then you have to pay back with a calf. Okay. But I don't think that they are capturing the impact of that cow. I mean, that cow can give the family milk, and maybe if they sell the milk, they can generate cash. But you don't know how many bathrooms, teeth were fixed, children went to school, families were kept together, right? So it's a great opportunity to learn about this thing. And once again, thank you so much for having me here, and I'm here to meet with you personally today and learn a lot. So muchas gracias.